Hello students, good morning. Myself Pushpendra Singh, and today we are going to start with NCERT classes. Okay, so we have this program for the NCERTs. Okay, so we are going to start with the NCERTs, and one by one we are going to finish these NCERT books for the various competitive examinations, especially for the UPSC civil services examinations as well as other governmental examinations. All right. So today we are going to bind up the sixth standard geography, and myself Pushpendra Singh. So let's begin with the class. All right. So let's begin with the brief understanding of our country. All right. So as all of you know that India, that is Bharat, right? This is what written in our Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution, Article 1. Article 1 of Indian Constitution basically says that India, that is Bharat. So that means India is the modern name of our country and Bharat is the ancient name of our country. So let's understand the few features of our country. So first of all, as you have seen the political map of our country, the India is bounded by the Himalaya, especially in the north. Okay, so that means in the northern directions you have the Himalaya, right? You have the Arabian Sea in the west. So in the western direction you have the Arabian Sea, and you have the Bay of Bengal in the eastern sides, right? When you see the India's map, okay, if I draw the peninsula, so you see here you have the Bay of Bengal, here you have the Arabian Sea here, okay, Arabian Sea, and you have the Indian Ocean. You have the Indian Ocean, okay, to the south, to the south. Okay, so these are the three principal oceans which are lying, and to the north you have the basically Himalaya, to the Himalaya. All right, so this is what something you must understand. And India has the area of 3.28 million square kilometers. So this is basically the India's geographical area, the geographical area. Okay, and the north south extend from Kashmir to the Kanyakumari. If I draw the map, you can probably understand that. Okay, so let's draw the map for the India, right? Okay, so for example, this is the map, and let's say this is what the Himalayan range is. Okay, this is what Himalaya. So if you consider this stretch, it is around 3,200 kilometers. All right, and the east and west extend. That means the east and west, that means from Kutch region in the Gujarat, okay, to the Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, the extent is basically 2,900 kilometers. So let's say you can say that the north south extent is much more than the east west extent, okay, so roughly, but you can say that it is almost similar, but north south extent is much more than east west extent. Okay, let's understand the locational setting. So I need to draw the map for that, so you need to draw the map for India. Okay, so first of all, you draw the map, so you will find that the Tropic of Cancer almost passes halfway through the country. Okay, so if you draw the map, you can probably see. Okay, so if you draw the map of our country, you will find that the Tropic of Cancer almost passes through the halfway of this country. So that is 23 degree and half, 30 degree north. So which also shows that this latitude lies to the north of equator, that means India lies in the northern hemisphere. All right, from south to north, if you see, the India extend from 8 degree 4 minute north to 37 degree 6 minutes north. So that means this latitude is around 8 degree 4 minute north, and start and reaches to the maximum extremity of 37 degrees 6 minute north. So that means the India's north and the southern region, which is runs for around 3,200 kilometers, the latitudinal extent runs from the 8 degree 4 minutes to the southern point to 37 degree 6 minutes to the northern point. इसी तरह से the west to east stretch which start from the Kutch to the Arunachal Pradesh, if you see this longitude, so this is the longitude, okay, so it runs from 68 degrees 7 minute east longitude to, if you see this longitude, it is 97 degree 25 minute east longitude. Okay, so this is showing that the east longitude showing that our country lies in the eastern hemisphere, okay, and the country also lies in the northern hemisphere, okay, so that means the geographical area of the country lies, in basically in the eastern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere. All right, and from west to east, this longitude basically correspond to 60 degree and 7 minute east to 97 degree 28 minute east longitude. Okay, and the local time changes by 4 minutes for every 1 degree of the longitude. That means you always see this local changes time for, every 1 degree, the 4 minutes changes occur. So that means there is a longitudinal extent of around 30 degree, so you can multiply 30 into 4, that means 120 minutes, that means the sun would rise in the Arunachal Pradesh 2 hours earlier than the sun which is seen in the Kutch region. So that means the local time period or local time, right, in the Arunachal Pradesh, if you reset your watch, the sun would be rising early in the Arunachal Pradesh 2 hours earlier than what is rises in the western extremity of the Indian mainland. Okay, and the local time of the longitude, because you must understand the watches in every country is basically set with respect to the standard time. So India's standard time have been taken with a reference of a one standard longitude, which is also known as the Indian standard longitude, right, which passes through 82 degree and 30 minutes, the east, so which is longitude which passes through the India, and according to that we calculate the Indian standard time. So let's understand India's neighbor. So India has presently 7 countries which share the land boundaries with India. Okay, these 7 countries you say basically the Afghanistan, Pakistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. So these are the 7 countries, and there are island neighbors also. For example, Sri Lanka lies to the southern, island neighbor. Maldives lies again to the, southeastern island neighbor. All right, and Sri Lanka is separated from India by the Pak Strait. So this Pak Strait is basically the narrow channel which connects the two larger water bodies, right? All right, let's understand the political and administrative divisions of the country. So for our understanding, India is divided into the 28 states and the 9 union territories. So this has increased. So recently you have made the 2 union territories also, right? The one is called the Jammu and Kashmir Bifurcation Act has led to the formation of the union territories, and the Jammu and Kashmir was the state. It has been removed, and now it has been made a union territory right now. All right. So this has made a union territory. So you have the 28 state presently, and Delhi is basically a national capital, right? The Rajasthan is in terms of the area. Rajasthan is the largest state, and in terms of the area, the Goa is the smallest state in terms of area. All right. Physical division में देखेंगे. Physical division means I told you that hills, plateaus, rivers, and etc. All these things will be there. Plains. So as I told you, when you see the map of the India, the Himalayas lies to the north, and it divided into 3 main parallel ranges. Okay, so if you divide these 3 main parallel ranges, if I draw these diagrams, it will be looking like this, almost parallel. So 3 parallel. So the northernmost range, which is also known as Inner Himalaya, it is also called the Great Himalaya. It is also called the Great Himalaya. The middle range is called Middle Himalaya. Okay, and the southern Himalaya is called basically Shivalik or Himachal. Shivalik or Himachal. Okay, so these are the 3 parallel ranges of Himalaya. Okay, the northern Indian plains lies to the south of Himalaya, because up to the southern region, right, which is also known as Shivalik and Himalaya, it is basically a hilly area, and southern portion of this is basically the plainer area, which is made up of the alluvial deposits of the three principal rivers, which are also called Indo or the Ganga River, Indus River, and Brahmaputra River. So these plains are mainly formed out of the Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Indus rivers. All right. And the western part of India, you have the Great Indian Desert, which is preferably or which is precisely lying in the state of Rajasthan, in the state of Rajasthan. All right. And adjoining region of Punjab and Haryana. To the south of northern plains lies the peninsular plateau. Okay. So if you draw the map of the India, you would precisely say that the map of India would be like that. Okay. And you will have basically to the south of the Great Indian Plains. Okay. So here you will have the three ranges of the Himalaya. Okay. After that you have the plains, and after plains you have basically, you know, the plateau. You have the plateau. Okay. So to the southern region of the plains lies the peninsular plateau. All right. And the Aravalli Hills is one of the oldest range in the world, which is lying in the region of Rajasthan. All right. Western Ghats or the Shadri borders the plateau in the west. So here you will have the Western Ghats. Okay. And you will have the eastern portion, you will have the Eastern Ghats. So here you will have the Eastern Ghats. Okay. And here you will have the Western Ghats. Okay. The Western Ghats again are basically ranges. Okay. You will have the mountains, but the Western Ghats, these mountains are bit regular or continuous in the nature. They are much higher than the Eastern Ghats. The Eastern Ghats, they are broken into the several small mountains, but they are also not regular. All right. And to the west of the Western Ghats and to the east of the Eastern Ghats lies coastal plain. So if I precisely draw the diagram, it will looks like this. So this is the peninsular region. Let's say this is basically Western Ghats and this is basically your Eastern Ghats. So write it here. This is Western Ghats. Okay. And this is basically your Eastern Ghats. Okay. And this region, it is saying that this is basically your Arabian Sea and this is Bay of Bengal. All right. So I'm talking about this region. So it is also called the Western Coastal Plain. Okay. And this region, it is also called as the Eastern Coastal Plains. All right. The river Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri drains into the Bay of Bengal. So that means the river Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, they flows towards the Bay of Bengal. And the Sundarban Delta, which is formed where the Ganga and Brahmaputra flows into the Bay of Bengal. So if you see the diagram, right, you will have the Sundarban Delta, which is formed of the principle of two major rivers, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra, which where the delta is formed. Right, and the delta is called Sundarban Delta. The Lakshadweep Islands lies located in the Arabian Sea. So you will see in the Arabian Sea, you will have this island, which is also called the Lakshadweep. Okay. And the Andaman and Nicobar Islands lies to the southeast of Indian mainland. So it will be lying here. It will be lying here. So you will have the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. All right. So it is lying southeast to the Indian mainland. So it is a southeastern direction to the Indian mainland. All right. And our country is very vast country. The area, as I told you, is 3.28 million square kilometers. All right. And when you see the political map of our country, the Himalaya, which is, you know, which is basically lying to the north of our country, right? Right. It is no. The Arabian Sea lies to the west of our country, and the Bay of Bengal lies to the south side, to the to the west, to the basically east side of our country, and the Indian Ocean lies to the south. So if you draw the map, it will be looks like this. It will looks like this. I have already drawn the map. So let's again draw the map. Okay. Okay. So I'm talking about, for example, this is Arabian Sea. This is Bay of Bengal. This is Indian Ocean. Okay. And here you will have the Himalayan ranges. All right. Let's understand the India has a diverse landform. Let's say lofty Himalayas. So you will have the Great Indian Desert. So as I told you, the western portion of the Rajasthan consisting of the desert. the northern plains. So this region basically after the Himalaya, you will have these plains. Okay, then you have the plateau. So this is basically a plateau. Okay, and then you have the coast and the islands. You will have here the coastal plains, and you will have definitely, for example, here Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and here you will have basically the Lakshadweep. All right. So this is what is the the map of India, and the climate of India is varies from the region to region. All right, and we find very high diversity of flora and the fauna. Flora means in terms of vegetation, in terms of vegetation. Fauna means in terms of animals, in terms of animals. And you will have the diversity in terms of language and the culture also. All right. And India is the second most populous country after China, but India is going to surpass the China, right, in and around 2028 AD. And India is basically located in the northern hemisphere, as I told you. Also, it is located in the eastern hemisphere also. All right. And the Tropic of Cancer means it is basically a latitude of 23.5 degree north, which passes the country, right, almost in the middle of the Indian landmass. And the sun rises 2 hours earlier in the east, that is Arunachal Pradesh, than in the west, that is Gujarat. So the, why this 2 hours earlier? Because as I told you, 1 degree longitude correspond to 4 minutes, correspond to 4 minutes. For example, you have 30-degree longitudinal, okay, longitudinal difference, okay, between the east and west. So that means 30 multiplied by 4. So you will have 120 minutes difference. 120 minutes difference means you will have the 2 hours. 2 hours. 2 hours means the sun will rise in the Arunachal Pradesh 2 hours earlier than the Gujarat region. All right. And India has the 7 neighbors, which means the Pakistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. Apart from the Afghanistan, also you will have basically 2 island neighbors also. Okay, they are called Sri Lanka, and you will have the Maldives also. All right, let's understand. The Sri Lanka is separated from India by the Pak Strait, and India have 28 states as of now, and Delhi is basically the national capital, and the largest state in terms of area is basically the Rajasthan, and the smallest state in terms of area is basically a Goa. All right, and India has the diverse physical features in terms of mountains, plateaus, plains, coast, and islands. And the Himalayan mountains are divided into three main parallel ranges. For example, if you draw these ranges, it will be looks like the greater Himalaya here, the middle Himalaya is this range, and the Himachal basically is this range, is the southmost range. To the south of Himalaya, you have the North Indian plains, which are predominantly made up of you know the the deposition of three rivers, Indus, Brahmaputra, and Ganga. All right, so they are alluvial deposits or alluvial plains. All right, and to the western part of India lies the Great Indian Desert, which is also known as the Thar Desert, which is also known as the Thar Desert. All right, to the south of northern plains lies Peninsular Plateau. This Peninsular Plateau is of triangular in the shape, because if you see the country, the country looks like this in the peninsular region itself also. So this shape of this region makes it is a triangular, but it is inverted triangular. It is inverted triangular, so it is triangular in the shape. And this region with the numerous hills and the valleys, okay, you will have the numerous hills and the valleys. The Aravalli Hills, Vindhyas and Satpuras are the most important ranges which are lies in this region. All right, and as I told you, the Western Ghats basically border the plateau in the west, right? and the Eastern Ghats provide the eastern boundary. For example, if I draw this map, you can see basically the Western Ghats is the western boundary of the plateau. Okay, and the Eastern Ghats provide the eastern boundary of this plateau. To the west of the Western Ghats and to the east of the Eastern Ghats, you will have the coastal plains. So you will have these western coastal plains, okay, and you will have these eastern coastal plains also. All right, and these two are basically ghats. These two basically are ghats. All right, and Lakshadweep islands are located in the Arabian Sea. So you will have here somewhere the Lakshadweep islands, okay, and Andaman and Nicobar islands lies somewhere here in the basically Bay of Bengal region. All right, and you will have basically, the Indian Ocean, which is lying to the south of the Indian mainland. The peninsula is a piece of the land which is surrounded by the water on the three sides. For example, this is peninsula, and it is basically surrounded by the water from the three sides. For example, you have the Arabian Sea, okay, you have the Arabian Sea, you have the Bay of Bengal, and you have the Indian Ocean. So it is bounded by the three sides, right? From the three sides by the water. The island is a piece of the land that is surrounded by water from all the sides. For example, the Lakshadweep Islands and Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they are also islands because they are surrounded from all sides by the water. The desert is nothing but the sandy stretch where you won't find much vegetation, only the cactus or some of the plants which are can survive in the hard arid region is basically is the desert. Alluvial deposits, you will find the fine soil which is brought by these rivers, right, which are also found in the river basins. There are tributaries. Tributaries means the small stream that contribute to the water to the main river, and which is ultimately discharged into the main river. For example, this is the main river, and this river is contributing. These are called tributaries. So for example, this is the main river. This is the main river, okay, and these are small streams which are contributing. So this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. For example, this is the X, which is the main river. So you can say that the A, B, C, and D are tributaries of main river X. Tributaries of main river X. All right. Delta, the area of the land which is formed on the mouth of the river. So for example, if this is a river, this is origin, and this is end. And for example, this is a river course. This is the river course. The end of the river is nothing but the mouth. Okay, and it is the origin of the river is called source. It is called source. So river flows from source to the mouth. The mouth is ending point of the river. So delta would correspondingly formed here at the mouth. So it is nothing but the triangular in the shape. It is nothing but the triangular in the shape. Corals are the skeletons of tiny marine animals which are called polyps. So corals में क्या होता है आपके पास? It's a symbiotic relationship. Okay, it's a symbiotic relationship between the polyps. Polyps are nothing but a marine animals. Okay, and you will have zooxanthella. Zooxanthella is nothing but you will have basically which brought it is nothing but a marine animal, and it is basically an algae. It is basically algae. It is marine animal. Okay, and this algae will have a pigment. This algae would have the pigment. So symbiotic relationship means the polyps would provide the zooxanthella a place to live, and the zooxanthella would provide the polyps, right, the nutrients and the coloring pigment also. For example, if the color of any particular coral is say green, so this green color is because of the green color pigment of the algae which is known as zooxanthella. And so that is the symbiotic relationship, as well as the marine animals also provided the food and the supplement and the nutrients also from this algae, right? So in the symbiotic relationship, the polyps provide the zooxanthellae the place to live, and the zooxanthellae would provide the polyps or the coral reefs the coloring pigment as well as the food to have. All right. Tsunami. Tsunami means strong and devastating harbor waves that generated due to the earthquakes. So you must understand the tsunami waves. It's a long wavelength waves, all right. So which is basically generated somewhere if the earthquake is occurred in the middle of the ocean and the huge water is displaced toward the shore, and that is known as tsunami. Strait का मतलब मैंने आपको बता दिया. Strait means a narrow passage of the water connecting two larger water bodies like seas and the ocean. For example, if you have this narrow passage of the water which connects the two larger bodies, okay, so this is body 1 and this is body 2, and this is nothing but your strait. This is nothing but of your strait. All right, let's understand the vegetation and the wildlife. So weather, when you say the weather is day-to-day changes in the atmosphere, okay, but the climate is not day-to-day changes, but it is average of around say 30 years to 40 years of the average changes in the atmosphere. But weather is the day-to-day change. So major seasons that we have is cold weather season, hot weather season, southwest monsoon season, and the season of retreating monsoon. So cold season where you will have the winter, the hot weather season you will have the summer, okay. In the southwestern monsoon you will have the rainfall, okay. In the retreating monsoon you won't be having the rainfall. Only the rainfall occurred in the Coromandel coast, okay, in the Coromandel coast and certain regions of the southern Andhra. But in the southwestern monsoon region you will have the rainfall except the Coromandel coast. All right. Cold weather season, as I told you, it is also known as winter season. So that happens, right, during the month of the winter time. For example, during the month of say October, December, October, November, December, and January. So here you will have the dry winds which blow from north to south. All right, and the sun rays do not fall directly to the region. Why sun rays do not fall? Because if you remember the winter solstice, summer solstice concept, the sun is lying in the southern hemisphere. So in the northern hemisphere you will have the winter, because we are talking here about the India. So in India during winter time the sun is at southern hemisphere. That means during the winter in India during October, November, December time, the sun will have in and around Australia, and in the Australia during the December you will have summer. So अगर आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया में अभी जाएंगे प्लेन पकड़ के तो आपको क्या मिलेगी? गर्मी. और इंडिया में क्या मिलेगी? सर्दी. ठीक है. इसी तरह से जब वहां पे सर्दी होगी तो यहाँ पे क्या होगी? गर्मी होगी. तो दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द चेंजेस, और दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द मूवमेंट ऑफ और अपेरेंट मूवमेंट ऑफ सन. ऑलराइट. हॉट वेदर सीजन का मतलब होता है समर. तो सनरेज डायरेक्टली फॉल्स ऑन द रीजन, राइट. सो यहाँ पर आपका सन होता है बेसिकली इन द नॉर्दर्न हेमिस्फीयर. So say rays are directly falls, and because of that you will have the dry and the hot winds which also flows, and they are called loo. So loo आपको कहाँ मिलेगी? राजस्थान में मिलेगी predominantly. Dry wind, and it is also desiccating wind, right, which also cause sometime the medical emergency. Also many people dies because of the loo also. The southwest monsoon season or the rainy season, okay. यहाँ पर जो winds will basically flow from Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal towards the land. So if you draw the map of India, this is basically southwestern monsoon, okay. The southwestern monsoonal winds basically stuck to the Indian landmass, and it divided into the two branches. The one branch is called the Arabian Sea branch of southwest monsoon, and this branch is called the Bay of Bengal branch of southwest monsoon. All right. So these two branches basically move, and they somehow manage to enter into the Indian landmass. The season of the retreating monsoon or the autumn is basically the wind started withdrawing from the Indian landmass. ठीक है. So winds basically started moving back from the mainland to the Bay of Bengal. अब ये winds की direction कैसे है? Southwestern monsoon hitting the Indian Peninsula, the tip and around say 1st of June, and then started moving into the two branches. One is called Arabian Sea branches of the southwestern monsoon, and the second branch is called the Bay of Bengal branch of southwest monsoon. And these branches basically meet somewhere in the plainer regions of the mainland India, and subsequently during the retreating season, these basically winds started retreating in this direction. So that means most of the rains are brought by the monsoonal winds, and these retreating winds are basically dry. They are dry, so that is why they do not cause rainfall. But what is happening is, if you see the India's map during the retreating period, right, especially the Coromandel coast, especially the Coromandel coast, they cause rainfall because they pick the water from Bay of Bengal during the retreating period of the monsoon, and they cause rainfall in the month of December. चेन्नई में जाओ, दिसंबर में आपको बारिश मिलेगी, बाढ़ आ जाती है दिसंबर में. दिसंबर में नॉर्थन इंडिया में बाढ़ दिखती है, आपको नहीं दिखती ना. तो बट इन चेन्नई every year in the month of December you will have floods. You will have flood. अभी आपके पास न्यूज आएगी कुछ दिन में कि in Chennai you will have floods because of this northeastern monsoon. इसको हम नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न मानसून कहते हैं और retreating monsoon कहते हैं. Nowhere in our country you will have the rainfall. Only in the Coromandel coast, precisely the coastal area of Tamil Nadu and the coastal area of Andhra, you will have plenty of the rainfall. Okay, so in the month of December. All right. So that's all. And the climate of a place is basically affected by the location, altitude, distance from the sea, and the relief. ठीक है, जितना दूर रहेगा ocean से, you will have the moderating effect of the ocean. For example, if the region, for example, Chennai, you will have the moderating climate. मतलब you won't be having extreme nature of the climate. जैसे if you are residing in the Delhi, you will have the chilling winter. The winter temperature falls to 0 degrees Celsius. During summer, the summer temperature increases to, let's say, around 50 degrees Celsius. But this type of contrasting temperature change is not found in the Chennai or in the coastal areas. There you will have almost every month you will have the temperature of around 28 to 30 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Celsius. Okay, you will not be finding the temperature to the range of 5 degrees Celsius or 6 degrees Celsius, or you will not be having the temperature of the range beyond 45 or 46 or 47 degrees Celsius. You will not find, but you will find the humid type of climate where you will have the high temperature and the high humidity in the climate. Why high humidity? Because of the proximity of the ocean in the coastal region. And Mawsynram एक मेघालय में place है which receives the highest rainfall in the world, and that is why the Mawsynram is also known as the wettest place in the earth or wettest place on the earth. Let's understand the natural vegetation. So natural vegetation mein you will have the grasses, shrubs, and the trees which grow on their own without interferences. So that are called natural. Natural का मतलब किसी के assistance से नहीं उगी हैं वो. They grow by their themselves without the help of humans. So that is why we call them natural vegetation. You can divide this vegetation into the 5 types. Tropical evergreen forest. Evergreen का मतलब होता है they always looks evergreen. So during the autumn time or during summer time, you will have the time to shed the leaves of the trees, right? So few trees basically shed the leaves to conserve their water. Okay, what is happening is, in the evergreen forest you will not be having the precise time to shed the leaves of every tree. So the forest looks evergreen because there is no precise time to shedding the leaves. So that is why we call them evergreen forest. The forest looks green in almost every part of the year, and if that forest located in the tropical region, it is known as tropical evergreen forest. Deciduous forest का मतलब होता है in a particular period of the time in a year, the tree sheds their leaves in order to conserve the moisture, and that type of tree is called deciduous forest, right? And that type of vegetation is known as deciduous vegetation. Thorny उसका मतलब होता है that trees which is having the thorny type of instead of leaves you will have the thorn on the plant. So you will have cactus type of vegetation which may be which are only found in the arid climate. For example, in the Rajasthan region, राजस्थान में जाओगे तो आपको क्या मिलेंगे, सिर्फ कैक्टस ही कैक्टस मिलेंगे, वहां पर आपको पेड़ नहीं मिलेंगे. मतलब you won't be finding the lush green forest, but you will find the few scattered trees. That is also the babool, kejri, bear, right? And you will find only cactus. Okay, there will not be any trees. And you will also have the mountain vegetation. Mountain, because of the changes in the elevation, you will be having the changes in the vegetation type also. And then you have the mangrove forest. These mangrove forests are having the different type of vegetation, right? For example, they are basically can sustain the high amount of salinity also, right? So these are the different type of vegetation. Tropical rainforest, you understand, first of all, they receive very heavy rainfall. Let's say more than 200 centimeters of the rainfall. The main species, right, are found in this region. They shed their leaves in the different times of the year. As I told you, there is no fixed period to shed the leaves, so they look evergreen throughout the year. And important trees are mahogany, ebony, and rosewood. Tropical deciduous forest, मैंने आपको बता दिया. Tropical deciduous forest means the deciduous forest that shed their leaves at the particular period of the time. So they are sometimes called the monsoonal forest, and these forests are sal, teak, peepal, neem, and shisham. The thorny bushes means they found in the drier regions or in the arid regions. For example, in the Rajasthan में खूब सारे मिलेंगे आपको. The leaves are in the form of spines to reduce the loss of water. And these type of trees are cactus, kaner, babool, keker, right, etc. Mountain vegetation means the mountains vegetation changes with the altitude, right? Changes with when you move in the mountainous region, the vegetation changes. So height that is lying between 1500 and 2500 meters, most of the trees are conical in the shape. So that is why they are called coniferous trees. Okay, and these trees are, for example, chair, pine, and deodar. And we will be learning more classification about the mountain vegetation as you graduate in the higher classes of geography. So when we study the 10th, 11th, and 12th geography, we will understand the more sub classification of the mountainous vegetation. All right, let's understand the mangrove forest. The mangrove forest basically survive in the saline water. Okay, and the sundari is one of well-known species of the mangrove vegetation, right? The weather is basically day-to-day changes will be there. Day-to-day changes in the fluctuation of the water, and it may be the hot and cold, sunny or cloudy, or windy or calm. And there are four main seasons in India. The cold weather season, that is called winter. They are found during the month of December to February. The hot weather season, which are also called summer season, they are found in the March to May. The southwestern monsoonal season, which are mainly in the month of June to September. The retreating monsoon from October to November, right? Which is also called autumn season. The hot gusty winds are called Lu, which only flows during the summer. तो लू आपको कहाँ मिलेगी? केवल राजस्थान में और adjoining areas like Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, in regions में मिलेगी. But more predominantly, Lu will be found in the state of Rajasthan. The climate is about the average weather conditions. So climate की अगर हम बात करेंगे तो average weather conditions की बात करेंगे, that will be measured over many years. Many years का मतलब around 30 years or 40 years. But weather की बात करेंगे, that is day-to-day weather changes, right, of the climatic parameters. The climate of India is basically monsoonal type because of monsoonal regime, and most of the rain is brought by the monsoonal winds, right? And the climate of the place is basically affected by its location, latitude, distance from the sea, and the relief. Just now we have discussed this also, right? And the two districts, the Jaisalmer and the Bikaner, these two districts are very hot. एक बार जाओ, बड़ा मजा आएगा. So Jaisalmer and the Bikaner are very hot districts. Okay, the Dras and the Kargil in the Jammu and Kashmir are very cold. For example, the temperature near Jaisalmer even reaches to 52-53 degrees Celsius. Okay, imagine the temperature of 52-53 degrees Celsius. The Dras and the Kargil in the Jammu and Kashmir is very cold. The temperature reaches to the below freezing point, right? So these are very extreme ranges of the temperature are found over there. The Mawsynram in the Meghalaya, the world highest rainfall occurs and India has wide ranges of vegetation. The tropical evergreen forest, tropical deciduous forest, thorny bushes, mountain vegetation, and mangrove forest. Just now we have explained everything. Okay. Tropical rainforest occur when receive high rainfall, more than 200 centimeters. Okay. Tropical deciduous forests are also called monsoonal forest. The thorny bushes are found in the drier regions or in the arid regions or in the semi-arid regions. The mangroves are found in the Sundarbans in the West Bengal and in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And most important tree is basically Sundari. Okay, the forests are very useful for all living beings because they provide the timber, okay, oxygen, and other minor forest produce. And apart from, they will also provide the fruits, and they are the natural habitat for the wildlife also. All right. And the One Mahotsav program, which is involved more and more people in making the earth green, which is also celebrated. And the tiger is basically our national animal, all of you knows about it. And the Gir forest, which lies in the state of Gujarat, is the home of Asiatic loins. So Asiatic loins are found in the Gir forest of Gujarat. And the peacock is our national bird. Peacock is the national bird. Tiger is the national animal. And there are several hundreds of the species of the snakes which are found in India. And the government started the Project Tiger to conserve or to protect the depleting tiger population. Project Elephant to protect the depleting elephant population and to protect the corridor for these animals. Okay, when you say the weather means day-to-day changes in the atmosphere. Okay, it includes the components, for example, temperature, rainfall, and the sunshine, which changes day to day. The Lu is nothing but hot and dry wind, which blows in the daytime during the summer. And the climate is average weather condition, which is measured over many years, let's say for 30 years and 40 years. Okay. मानसून की बात करेंगे. Monsoon are basically the word which is taken from the Arabic language, which is nothing but the mausim. The mausim means season. So you will have the monsoon means the seasonal reversal of winds. Okay, during the summer time you will have the southwestern monsoon. During the winter time you will have the northeast winds. So you will have the seasonal reversal. Wildlife की बात करेंगे, so it's all wild animals and the birds found in the forest, national park, and the sanctuaries. They are called wildlife. One Mahotsav is basically a program to organize from time to time to promote the people for planting more and more trees, right? So that the biodiversity can be conserved. Natural vegetation मतलब आपकी grass होगी, shrub होगी, trees होंगी, they are all comes as a part of the natural vegetation. They grows without the assistance of the human. Migratory birds का मतलब होता है those birds which migrate from one place to the another place, right? For example, different migratory birds come to the India from the Central Asian countries and from Siberia. All right, so this is all for today, and we have completed, okay, the sixth standard geography. Okay, so we have completed sixth standard geography, right? Today we have completed 600 geography, and tomorrow we'll start from the new NCERT. All right, so thank you very much for attending this session. Thank you.